Hi there, this is Craig from Ottawa Swordplay, and today I'm going to talk about a little footwork drill that you can do with any kind of footwork that you want to practice pretty much. You can do this on your own at home in a fairly limited amount of space, and it's something that I think is generally useful. Now, this drill is based on the premise that we want to know how big our steps are all the time. And I prefer to focus on smaller steps because it's easier to practice smaller steps and then step bigger when you need to. But the important thing is that we actually understand how big our steps actually are and whether we step more if our steps are bigger when we're moving forward or backward or that kind of stuff. And we want to develop consistency that we can then make adaptable. So this is a drill to help us develop consistency with our steps, and I'm going to be honest straight up, I used to practice this all the time when I mostly focused on rapier fencing, and I have not done it as much. I'm going to do it with the footwork that we tend to use here with longsword or grossness or things like that, which is a little bit different, but the drill still applies. Now, how do we know if our steps are consistent? Well, we want to test whether they're the same length going forwards or backwards, and we want to make ourselves be honest, and we want to train ourselves to make them consistently the same going backwards or forwards, and then we will know that we're consistent. So in order to do that, we're going to choose a marker point, and I'm going to use the point of the A here, and I'm going to put my left foot on the A standing in a starting guard position. Now, for this, I'm going to always start with doing backward steps. So I'm going to do my passing step with my good little hip turn there, and take a step back, and then I'll take another step back, and then I'll take another step back. So I've now taken 3 steps backwards. So now I'm going to do 6 steps going forwards, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps going forwards. And now I'm going to do 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, going backwards. And oh, look at that, you can see I'm about 3 inches ahead of where I was before. Which my second step backwards on my second set of backward steps is the one that's at fault in this case, I'm pretty sure. That's not super far out, but it is a little bit off. So now that means that I either need to make my steps backwards bigger or my steps forward smaller to make them consistent. Normally, I always say err on the side of making the steps that are bigger smaller. And then from there, it's easier to train them to be bigger. In this particular case, I did actually slightly misstep on one of my steps, and I'm pretty sure that's the culprit, so I might want to change that up. Anyway, I did that with passing steps. We used to do this a lot more with our rapier footwork steps, and I do always recommend starting with your backward steps, and then your forward steps, and then your backward steps. Oh, I'm even more off, out of practice on rapier. And then do your backward steps, because then you can't see whether you're actually landing on your marker spot or not. You're forcing yourself to be honest. Now, what if you get really good at this? How do you make it harder? Well, there's 2 ways that you can ramp up to increase your training with this. The first one is that you can increase the speed at which you're doing your footwork. So move faster forwards and backwards and still try and be consistent. The second thing that you can do is you can increase the number of steps in each segment. So if you are consistently able to do 3-6-3 and end up at the same spot, do 4-8-4. If you can do 4-8-4, do 5-10-5, like that. Now, if you're doing 3-6-3 and you're finding it's not working for you, go to 2-4-2. Make it work at the level that you can start to develop success and then increase the pressure that you're putting on yourself. It's not a super complicated drill, but it is really useful, and it is a building block towards managing distance, which is probably the most important skill in sword fighting. Thank you very much. Have a good day.